To be compassionate is to have sympathetic pity and concern for the sufferings or misfortunes of others. However, it is not always the easiest thing to do. J. Michael S. tells us that, for many people, Superman is, and always has been, America's hero. He stands for what we believe is best within us, limitless strength tempered by compassion that can bear adversity and emerge stronger on the other side. He stands for what we all feel we would like to be able to stand for, and standing is the hardest. Connie, you are my Superman. You are my hero. You stand for what I believe is best, and you always emerge stronger. You are the first to stand up, and the last to sit down. Your ability to inspire others through compassion is what gives me the utmost pleasure in calling you my friend. Connie came into my life way before I was able to remember it. Most of my memories with her relate back to the summers we spent at a private campground. It was at this campground during the summer of 2013 that Connie did something extraordinary. Late one night, a man came stumbling across the road by Connie's campsite. As he started for the hill, he slipped and he fell upon his head. Very seriously injured, Connie was the first to help. Having worked at a hospital for most of her life, she was well suited for this task. As others went to go find help, she immediately began helping the wounded man. She was there helping him from the time he fell to the time he was lifted into the ambulance. She never left his side unless it was to go get something that would help him. Before this incident, Connie had always been an influential figure in my life. After seeing her tend to this injured man, I gained an unprecedented amount of respect for her. Connie could have turned the other way when he fell. She could have just called 911 and left it at that. But she didn't. She gave up her time to make him better. This past summer, I had the most wonderful experience. I got to go on a cruise. I got to go on my first cruise with the people closest to my heart. The ship we were going on was named the Carnival Dream, and it did live up to its name. However, before we even stepped foot on the ship, I found myself yet again in the presence of Connie's compassion. The cruise departed out of New Orleans, so we had to drive down there and stay at a hotel for a couple of days. The one day we were there, we decided to go around and tour and see the immense diversity and culture there. Vendors lined the streets, and you could feel the colonial culture mixed with the Caribbean culture. As we were walking out of one of the stores, there was a raggedy man laying against a wall. Like any homeless man, he had a container to collect money. Dozens of tourists and locals filled the street, but very little stopped to even acknowledge him. Connie took one look at the man, and he immediately pulled out money and gave it to him. I saw the look on his face, and the look on hers, and it was then that I could tell that she had impacted his life, even if it were the slightest. So I followed, and I gave him money too. Others scolded us and believed that we had just paid for his next bottle of liquor. But what Connie did was right. She stood when nobody else would. The last story I have to share is the one that happened the most recently. In August of this year, we're back at camp now after our cruise. It was a brisk summer evening when a problem arose. A boy by the name of Jacob was accused of something he didn't do. Jacob was known as kind of the saint at camp. He was always a super behaved and lighthearted kid, so the crime did not fit the accused. Connie knew this. As Jacob's parents were away at the time, Jacob had no one to go to, except for Connie. Connie defended him against those who accused him. So, soon after, many people came to agree with her, even myself. All of those who were in doubt soon weren't anymore. If Connie hadn't stood up for Jacob, he might have been punished for something that he never would have even thought to have done. Connie is the grandmother that I never had. She's there for me in my darkest nights. She supports and loves me unconditionally. Connie has become one of the most important, influential figures in my life, and there isn't a day that I regret meeting her. She has taught me life lessons on countless occasions. And I would not be as good as a man as I am today if it weren't for her. In the wise words of Daniel Goleman, true compassion means not only feeling another's pain, but also being helped to move relieve it. I have not met another being who was more moved to help relieve another's pain than Connie Peterson.